Hi, before we start this EV news brief, I just thought I'd mention that there is a notification within YouTube that when you do want to receive notifications, there's a little bell icon. By default, it enables things that you'd be interested in, which technically means you do not get every single release within the channel. Personally, when I subscribe to channels, I use Notify All. So I would suggest you do that so you do not miss anything from the Electro revolution when we do release videos, podcasts, and various things like that. It's just a recommendation I would make if you don't use that feature. Let's get started with the EV news brief now. Hi, lovely to have you here. Welcome to the Electro Revolution EV news brief. Let's just cover the top stories that we're going to go through today in summary. The first one is the US infrastructure funding that's been reinstated. That was reinstated by a federal judge who orders $5 billion of NEVI EV charging funds to be released. We'll also be looking at EV stocks that draw investor attention, things like Tesla, Rivian, NIO, XPeng, and QuantumScape. They're highlighted as key equities to watch. We'll also look at the retail EV charging expansion, and that's in Wawa, which launches first self-branded Tesla superchargers in Florida. And there's also cold weather and EV performance stories. The winter storms reduce the battery range. Experts recommend preconditioning and sheltered parking. We'll also look at global EV model and market developments. Things like the Kia EV4, the Perodua QVE, the Leapmotor C10, and BYD SUVs that they expand their international rollouts. We'll also look at the Australian EV market update, where Tesla leads sales, Chinese EVs and mainstream brands, they gain ground, premium European brands, they maintain their presence. And we'll finish on a humorous EV news story, where a tiny electric mobility scooter in San Antonio goes viral as the ultimate tiny luxury commuter. So I hope you enjoy this episode. So let's start on the first top story of today. The United States infrastructure funding that's been reinstated. That's our top story. A federal judge in Seattle has ruled that the Trump administration unlawfully froze billions of dollars in funding for electric vehicle infrastructure. That's a key national initiative to expand EV charging networks across the US. On Friday, US District Judge Hannah Lin issued a 57-page opinion finding that the Department of Transportation and the Federal Highway Administration acted outside the scope of their authority when they abruptly halted the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure, NEVI for short, formula program earlier this year. The program, created by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act of 2021, included roughly $5 billion intended to help states build a nationwide network of high-speed EV charging stations along the major highways. According to Judge Lin, the administration's decision to pull the plug on NEVI funds was capricious and contrary to federal law. She wrote that neither the statute nor established administrative procedures permit an executive branch pause on funds that Congress has expressly appropriated. To quote, "Taking a hiatus from executing the law is not one of the Secretary of Transportation's powers," which is what the judge wrote, underscoring that agencies must operate within the boundaries set by Congress. The legal clash began when 17 states, later joined by additional states and non-profit environmental groups, filed suit in May, arguing that the funding freeze violated both the Administrative Procedure Act and the constitutional principle that Congress controls federal spending. The lawsuit named the Department of Transportation, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, and FHWA leadership as defendants. In June, Judge Lin granted a preliminary injunction, blocking the administration from withholding funds and ordering restoration of the NEVI program's legal status so states could proceed with their infrastructure plans. Her latest ruling largely affirms that early decision and now prohibits the federal defendants from withholding, suspending, or revoking NEVI funds tied to previously approved state deployment plans. Officials from plaintiff states praised the ruling. A spokesman for the Washington Attorney General's office called it a resounding win for the rule of law and for smart investment in our clean energy future. While leaders from the environmental non-profit organisations said the decision will help states build the EV charging infrastructure needed to support cleaner air and reduce transportation emissions. The Trump administration had framed the NEVI pause as a brief interruption while guidance was revised. But critics say the freeze, which began in February when the Department of Transportation rescinded prior NEVI guidance, disrupted projects across multiple states and left billions of dollars in allocated funds tied up without a timeline for release. Judge Lin's order goes beyond merely restoring funds. It emphasises broader separation of powers issues. In her opinion, she wrote that when the executive branch seeks to act contrary to clear congressional mandates, the judiciary has a duty to remediate the situation and restore the balance of power. The ruling applies to the plaintiff states, NEVI funds, and is currently in effect, though the federal government may seek an appeal. Additional litigation remains pending over other withheld electric vehicle funding programs, including discretionary grants that were similarly frozen earlier in the year. That is the latest on this developing story. Stay with us for continuing coverage of this ruling and how it could influence the rollout of EV charging infrastructure nationwide across the US. EV stocks attract attention again. In financial markets today, electric vehicle stocks are drawing renewed attention as investors track volatility and upcoming catalysts across the sector. According to MarketBeat, several EV-related companies stand out as key names to watch. At the top of the list is Tesla, of course, which continues to anchor the EV market, with investors closely monitoring earnings performance, production efficiency, and progress in autonomy and energy storage. Also in focus is Rivian Automotive, as traders watch delivery volumes and cost control efforts tied to its electric trucks and SUVs. From China, NIO and XPeng remain active stocks, reflecting ongoing interest in the world's largest EV market and the intense competition among Chinese automakers. Rounding out the group is QuantumScape, a battery technology company whose shares often move on speculation around solid-state battery development. Analysts note that EV stocks remain growth-orientated and volatile, with near-term performance closely tied to earnings reports, production updates, and technology milestones. Now let's go to the retail expansion of EV charging infrastructure. In commercial electric vehicle news, convenience retailer Wawa, that's WAWA, has launched its first self-branded electric vehicle charging station at a store in Alachua, Florida, marking a new chapter in how non-automotive brands are deploying EV charging infrastructure. The site features 16 Tesla supercharger positions that are now owned, branded, and priced by Wawa, rather than solely hosted under another charging company's network. This move comes as part of Wawa's participation in Tesla's Supercharger for Business program, which allows retail hosts to operate and brand fast chargers on their properties. Industry observers note that Wawa has long been a major host of Tesla chargers, with hundreds of superchargers at its stores. But this is the first time the chain is taking direct ownership and control of the infrastructure, including setting pricing at the site. The Florida rollout reflects a broader trend of retailers integrating EV charging into their service offerings to attract EV drivers, enhance customer dwell time, and create new revenue streams. As electric vehicles gain market share, such branded charging stations are expected to become more common at convenience stores, shopping centres, and other retail locations. That is the latest on Wawa's expansion into self-branded EV charging. More locations may follow as the company evaluates demand and potential network growth. Now let's get to the cold weather and EV performance trend. As a major winter storm grips parts of the Northern Hemisphere, new analysis highlights how cold weather is affecting electric vehicles on the road. According to CBS News coverage, freezing temperatures can significantly reduce EV battery performance and driving range, a concern for owners during extended cold spells. In tests and real-world conditions, range losses of about 25% or more have been observed when temperatures plunge well below freezing. with the cold slowing the chemical reactions inside lithium-ion batteries and increasing energy demand for heating the cabin. Unlike internal combustion ICE vehicles that use waste engine to heat warm passengers, EVs must draw power from the battery for heating, further cutting into usable range. Experts say this double hit of reduced battery efficiency and extra energy used for heat and leave drivers needing to recharge more often. To help mitigate these effects, EV owners are advised to precondition both the battery and interior while the vehicle is plugged in, so the energy for warming comes from the charger rather than the battery itself. Parking in garages or sheltered areas can also reduce cold stress on the battery. As winter weather persists, these tips can assist EV drivers in maintaining performance and minimizing range loss in frigid conditions. Now let's look at the global electric vehicle model and market developments. While this is not tied to a single breaking headline, the global electric vehicle market continues to evolve rapidly, with manufacturers rolling out new models and expanding into additional regions. I'll give some examples here. The Kia EV4. That remains a key development in the compact EV segment. It's offered in both hatchback and sedan body styles. The EV4 is built on Kia's dedicated EGMP electric platform and is positioned to serve a wide range of global markets in the 2026 timeframe. The dual-body strategy reflects growing demand for affordable, urban-focused electric vehicles with varied form factors. The Puro Dua QVE. In Southeast Asia, the Puro Dua has entered the electric era with the start of production of its first EV, the QVE subcompact crossover. Now, we have spoken about this in different EV news briefs earlier. As Malaysia's largest automaker, Puro Dua's move into EV manufacturing is viewed as an important step toward increasing electric vehicle accessibility and adoption across emerging regional markets. The Leapmotor C10. The Leapmotor C10 continues its international rollout. The compact electric SUV, already launched in Australia and parts of Europe, is being distributed through Stellantis dealership networks, providing Leapmotor with a broader global footprint and offering consumers additional choices in the mid-size EV category. Finally, BYD continues to scale up its global presence, particularly in the SUV segment. The Chinese automaker has expanded its lineup with larger 7-seat electric SUVs, including models such as the Tang L, alongside higher performance variants. These vehicles are expected to strengthen BYD's competitiveness in international markets where demand for larger family-orientated EVs is growing. Let's now cover Australia's EV market update. So turning to the Australian EV market, new registration data from the first half of 2025 indicates continued strong momentum in EV adoption, with sales growth driven by a mix of established leaders and fast-rising new entrants. Now you may wonder, okay, 2025 was last year, but what we're talking about here is new data released for the 2025 first half of the year. Tesla continues to hold a commanding presence, with the Model Y and Model 3 remaining among the most purchased electric vehicles nationwide. Their popularity is attributed to competitive pricing, strong brand recognition, access to Tesla's charging network, and ongoing consumer demand for mid-size electric SUVs and sedans. However, the competitive landscape is shifting rapidly as Chinese automakers expand their footprint in Australia. BYD has emerged as one of the fastest growing brands, with models such as the Atto 3, compact SUV, and the newest Sea Lion 7 gaining traction. These vehicles are drawing buyers with aggressive pricing, long feature lists, and improving local distribution networks, placing increasing pressure on legacy manufacturers. Other strong performers in the mainstream segment include the Kia EV5, which has appealed to family buyers seeking value-focused electric SUVs, the MG4, which remains one of the most affordable EV options on the market, and the newly introduced Geely EX5, which is contributing to the diversification of available choices. The broader market trend points toward increasing brand diversity, with more Australians opting beyond early EV leaders. While mainstream manufacturers compete heavily on price and value, premium European brands such as BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche continue to maintain a presence in the higher-end segment, serving buyers seeking luxury performance and advanced technology. Analysts note that improving charging infrastructure, increased model availability, and intensifying price competition are accelerating the shift toward electric mobility across urban and regional Australia. With additional models scheduled for release and continued downward pressure on prices, the Australian EV market is expected to become even more competitive in the months ahead. Now let's close with some humorous EV news. So for a lighter note, from the streets of San Antonio, Texas, where a tiny electric vehicle has captured widespread attention and sparked viral videos online. Over the past few days, residents have spotted a small enclosed electric mobility scooter, described as about the size of a compact car, but capable only of around 18 miles per hour, cruising local roads near the El Ranchero restaurant. What makes the vehicle stand out isn't just its pint-sized proportions, but its suddenly cult-like following on social media, where clips of the unusual EV have drawn more than 1.2 million views. The mystery vehicle appears to be a green Transporter Q Express electric mobility scooter, a two-seat cabin-style electric car typically marketed for extended mobility rather than highway use. It features modern touches like a sunroof, Bluetooth radio, defroster and backup camera, leading many locals to joke that it's the ultimate tiny luxury commuter. Residents have shared amused reactions online, with some praising its charm and others wondering aloud whether it's the future of city driving. The owner hasn't been publicly identified, but the little EV continues to turn heads and spark smiles across the community. Well, that's your lighter EV story, reminding us that the world of electric mobility isn't just high speed and high tech. Sometimes it's just really, really small. And that ends the EV news brief for today. If you did like it, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this content with someone who'd be interested, or just leave a comment. It really all helps. Until the next time, I hope to see you there. Bye for now.